I'm Lauren with Pack Hacker, and in this video we're taking a detailed look at the Almond Oak Expandable Travel Backpack 25 liter plus 5 liter, which I've been testing for the last 2 weeks. Let's dive in. I think one of the things that makes this a really great sort of like hybrid daily travel backpack is the material that it's made of. So bringing it up a little bit closer to the camera here, this is a 280D nylon, and then there's 100D nylon on the interior. This is PU coated, so it gives you a little bit of weatherproofness as well, but it's a very like slick, kind of shiny material, and it wipes easily. It wipes clean very easily, so like little kind of scuffs that I have around here, if I just take like a rag to it, it sort of cleans it up a little bit. But it is a very lightweight bag. So this is only 1.86 pounds, and that's with, you can get up to 30 liters of storage space in here. So if you're somebody who likes to sort of like have a backpack that's not so huge and not so heavy to start with, and really focus on making the weight, I guess more like the gear that you have in your bag, this is gonna be a really great option for that. It does, as you can see, because the material is a little thin, it does get a little bit lumpy kind of around the bag. And right now I have this full at its 25 liter capacity, and you can see that it's like, obviously it's not like a very structured shape. It's holding its shape well enough. It does stand up on its own as well, but I found that like the look of this really depended on the gear that you had stored inside and where it was. So right now I have this full, but if it wasn't full, it could be a little bit like saggy looking or lumpy looking. So it just sort of depends on how you pack it. If it doesn't bother you and you would rather prioritize having a lightweight bag, this is a great option for that. I think aesthetically too, because this was a Kickstarter, I think aesthetically it kind of reminds me of a few different brands. Like it's kind of like if like Alpaca and like Able Carry had a baby, but those brands really focus on like thicker, more, I guess, like durable materials. This here is definitely focusing more on that like lightweight feel. We have really good materials and like hardware around as well though. We have YKK zippers, we have Hypalon zipper pulls that say Almond Oak on it, so it's very, very subtle with its branding, and those are kind of around the bag. Otherwise, you wouldn't really know what brand this bag is without looking at it, which I think just kind of lends to a more like sleek aesthetic. The harness system is similarly simple. So we just have 2 shoulder straps, a back panel with a luggage pass-through, a sternum strap on a sliding rail, and that's it. There's no like hip belt or anything. I personally didn't feel like I needed it. I'll show you what it looks like, what the bag looks like on in a second. But we've got a fidlock magnetic buckle here for that sternum strap. Sliding rail I also really like because it gives you really like, you can kind of finesse the fit of where the sternum strap is and give you a little extra comfort. We also have Duraflex hardware down here at the bottom. And then we have carry handles sort of throughout. So we've got a carry handle on either side and then one on the top as well. The shoulder straps are pretty thin, but it is an EVA foam both on the back panel and on these shoulder straps. And I found it to be substantial enough. I think this bag, because it only is 30 liters at its absolute max, like it never feels overtly uncomfortable. You can't really get enough gear in there to make it overly heavy, and because the bag itself is so lightweight to start with, I feel like you're just kind of like already have an advantage. So I found it pretty comfortable. There's not a ton of airflow back here. There's no like mesh or anything. It's just that foam on the shoulder straps, and then the back panel sort of just like what you see is what you get. Still found it pretty comfortable. It's gonna get hot in more intense temperatures, but just kind of, it's a bit of a trade-off. This is what the backpack looks like on. Like I mentioned, it's not expanded right now. So at this 25 liters, it feels very like day packy. It's still a little bit larger than I would want to carry around every day for myself personally. But if you do have a decent amount of gear that you want to carry with you, it is a pretty solid size for that. And then you can expand it when you do want to go on a trip. Like I mentioned, these straps, they fit very basically. I don't feel like they're too close to my neck or too close to my shoulders. So I feel like you do have a lot of variety with what frames it fits on. And then we also have this on me. I'm 5'6" and I have a 16.5-inch torso to kind of give you a frame of reference. So I don't feel like it's too big on me. It doesn't feel like it's really like dragging me back too much, even though it is full. So overall comfort is pretty solid. If you're finding this video helpful, hit subscribe so we can keep making content to help you travel smarter. Looking at the secondary compartments on this, we have a water bottle pocket on the side here. I have I believe this is a 21 ounce, 21 ounce Hydro Flask here, and it fits in there pretty well. Larger bottles I did struggle to fit in here when the bag was full. This is definitely one of those packs where even though it's a nice stretchy mesh material, if you have a really large water bottle, it's going to really depend on how much the main compartment is packed out, whether or not you can get that bottle in there nice and smooth. I did find though that once the bottle was in there for a while, it kind of shifted the gear around on the inside, and then you can get it in and out easier. You just have to get it in there in the first place. We also have a security pocket on the back side here, so it's just hidden off to the side. And this is a spot where you can put a passport or something. Passport does have to be outside of like a passport wallet or something. I couldn't find a passport wallet that was thin enough to really fit in this pocket with the passport. So just kind of depends on like what level of security you're aiming for. Like if you'd rather have your wallet and keep it elsewhere, then that's an option. This is a very flat pocket though, so if you end up not using it, you don't even really notice it's there. You can put like your wallet there or maybe some extra cash if you wanted to, so you can kind of use it however you please. With the laptop compartment on the back here, I really liked this compartment. I think they did a good job kind of thinking through what level of protection you would want to have for your device. So this fits up to a 16-inch MacBook Pro, and you can see the false bottom. I guess you can't see the false bottom. I can show you where it is though. It basically goes down to like where this panel ends. So you have a couple of inches of device protection, and it allows it allows you to travel with your device without being worried about it getting damaged or something, or needing like an additional case or something with it. There's not a ton of extra space in here, so if you did want to bring your own case, like your results may vary, I guess, depending on like what type of case you have. But this is a nice kind of felty material on the inside here, and it has a good amount of cushion. This is that back panel, that like EVA foam. You can feel it here, but you can also feel a little bit on this side as well. It's not quite foam, but it's just like a little bit of extra padding. I'm not quite sure if it's like, I don't know, if it's just like a very thin amount of foam or something like that in there, but I felt like whenever I put my laptop in here, it felt very protected. And then there also is a little mesh pocket here if you want to put some like a charger or something in there. I never use these. I don't like how they cut into like the main compartment because they'll kind of push that way or push into my device. So I generally stay away from it. I just bring a tech pouch, but that pocket does work for its intended purposes if you do prefer that. This front pocket as well is a little bit different. So this is a pre-production sample. So the version that's out on the market when you actually buy this is gonna be a little different. Opening this up though, it's just like a side slit pocket that if you are wearing this backpack on your back, you swing it around your left side in order to get to this pocket, not your right side. So great for lefties. Took a little bit of adjustment for me as a right-handed person. A lot of the times the pockets are on the right side. So something worth noting. But in here, when I take this out, you can kind of see it has some independent storage space, which is nice. So if you overload the main compartment, you can still get some gear in here, which some flat pockets, you basically lose that storage space once you pack out the main compartment too much. So that was really good to see. I think that was great and functional. I put an additional pouch in there for like some extra accessories because the organization is pretty minimal. I have a Kindle in there that fits great. That's not mine, that's why it's dead. But there's also like a zipper pocket over here, and then I just have my keys down at the bottom. So in the actual like version that you would potentially get, it would be just one zippered mesh pocket here, and it opens all the way across, and it has two divider pockets. And one of our pro members actually has this, and she mentioned that, you know, the organization was good enough for what she needed, but she was kind of hoping to have something a little bit different in there because the pocket is just one zipper. So instead of having one zipper with two compartments, having maybe like two separate pockets or maybe a pen slot or something like that. So the organization was a little bit less than she would have liked. For myself personally, I usually end up utilizing pouches in these pockets or just not using them really much at all. So for me, I didn't really find, you know, too much of an issue with that, but it is worth noting that regardless of, you know, if you get this, regardless, you're probably going to want to use a couple of extra pouches or something. Now into the main compartment. So like I mentioned, a lot of this bag structure depends on how you pack, specifically all of the pockets, but most of all, I think, the main compartment. So in here, when you open it up, it is a full clamshell. This is another thing that I didn't realize would be difficult for my brain, but it opens up, the clamshell opens up to the right. A lot of bags that we test, the clamshell would actually be more on this side. And I honestly, like, it was such a small thing for me, but every time I opened the bag, I felt like I was opening it upside down, or I was looking, like I would grab the zippers and I'd try and go the wrong way, and it just doesn't work. It really is a user error thing, but just as a heads up, like if that's really gonna annoy you, it's something to consider. That on top of like the side pocket, I just kind of like my brain was like melting, and that was a me issue, but worth noting. In the inside here, I have 3 packing cubes full of gear. This is enough clothing for like honestly 1 to 2 weeks. 1, if you're like not that great at packing. 2, if you are more of like a 1 bag traveler, kind of expert packer type situation, which is definitely what this bag is designed for. Because of its size, it does really well if you are good at kind of like locking down the amount of gear that you travel with. So if you travel very minimally, this is gonna be a great bag for that. If you like to overpack, you're gonna be utilizing that expansion zipper a lot, which does take it out of carry-on compliance for some airlines, but it does have really good carry-on compliance overall. So, you know, if you're looking for like a personal item bag or something to really consistently 1 bag travel with, this is good. There's also this mesh side on the lid. So this is where I put like pouches, honestly. I'll put pouches over here or something similar. With this, it was very easy to pack, but if you didn't want to use it, you don't have to. Like, you could technically just pack this bag out more and then just put the lid over it, and you're not really like losing out on any space, so you could just sort of ignore it. I personally like using it for small items that I kind of want to keep locked down. And then when you use the expansion zipper, this goes all the way around the bag, and it gives you a couple of extra inches of space. You can see kind of all around the bag there, and it's a very like even amount of space all around. I never found myself needing this unless I was going on like a longer weekend. 25 liters for me for just like a 4-day weekend or something is more than enough. So like I said, this is a really good bag if you want something that could do a longer trip if you need it to, but really does a good job on just like kind of like quick jaunts to and from somewhere. If you're just like a local traveler or something like that, or you like taking small weekend trips, it's a really good bag for that. So I would say like the biggest caveat with this is really just knowing that the materials, because they are so lightweight, like while the bag does have a very easily packable structure, you are going to, if you have a lot of lumpy gear in here, you are going to see those lumps kind of throughout the bag when you actually get it all loaded up and are looking at it from the outside, which is more of an aesthetic thing than anything, but I think still worth noting. So there you have it, the Almond Oak Expandable Travel Backpack. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel, and we'll see you in the next one.